The Cedric Maxwell podcast is brought to you by FanDuel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
All right, it's another episode of the Cedric Maxwell podcast. I am Josue Pavone. He is Cedric Maxwell. And, man, we got a lot to get into, man. We're going to carry on the conversation that you and I had before Game 2 between the Celtics and the Atlanta Hawks. We'll talk about that Game 2, but we got bigger fish to fry, right, before this.
You got a frying pan that big? Really?
This is big. I mean, Max, what are the chances the two guys you had words with during the NBA Finals are in the news on the same exact week, pretty much the same exact day? The cycle continues, and we gotta chime in on it, right? I mean, look, this is news right now. This isn't just Cedric Maxwell.
Look, I didn't have a problem with your guy E40. You know, I have no problem with him.
I said you spoke with him. I didn't say you had a problem with him. What were the chances?
E40 and said hello, and he told me ping pong. I'm like, that's some new shit. I hadn't even heard of it. It's like, so it's
I thought it was a West Coast thing. I'm like, what?
Ping pong. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. All right. Okay.
And he introduced himself. He said, "Hey, I'm Earl. Nice to meet you." I was like, "Oh, that's your real name?" I had no idea, Max. I had no idea what E40's real name was, but he kept it professional with you. But yeah, he's in the news. Draymond's in the news. Who you had? You shared the other kind of words with Draymond during the NBA Finals. But first things first, we'll get into E40 first. In Sacramento, Game 2 between the Warriors and the Kings, and according to E40, he was being heckled. He was one of the front rows watching the game, and eventually he decided to say something. So he decided to correct these fans, these Kings fans. Obviously, he's a diehard Warriors fan. This is a rapper that went to the White House to celebrate the championship with the Warriors. So he's very close with the organization, season ticket holder. And when he addressed them, overcame security, overcame the, you got to go. This isn't going to keep going anymore. According to E40, there wasn't any story being asked. There wasn't any people telling their sides of the story. None of that. And he's calling it racial bias. And the Sacramento Kings, they're not apologizing. They haven't issued anything if he's going to be allowed back. At this point, the series swings back to San Francisco. But what's your take on this, Max? I mean, what does it take? Is it just someone saying, "Hey, I want this guy removed," and then that person gets taken out, gets thrown out? What happened there?
Well, first of all, if you're E40, you're in the front row. What you care about people behind you talking? What they got to say? They're in the nosebleeds. You're in the front. You in the front row, right beside the bench. And
they must have hit a nerve.
Once he got thrown out, I thought it was even crazier because some Warrior players came over, like they wanted to intervene, like on behalf of E40, like he was part of the team. They were like,
Iguodala was one of those guys.
Iguodala came over. It was Gary Payton's son came over, and they were
right.
Away. I'm like, I was like, okay. And so, I mean, those things are going to happen, especially when you are playing at the opposition's home. Like you're playing, your behavior is going to be modified, has to be monitored that much more, considering you are a Warrior fan. You're sitting in the front row and you're throwing shade on the people behind you. So I didn't like it. Yeah. It was an ugly look, but that was a forerunner for what was really about to come with your boy Draymond Green. Ooh, I mean, they suspended Draymond Green. If you're just coming around, Draymond Green was suspended for Game 3, and I just saw Joe Dumars, who is he's a guy with discipline, and he was on one of those NBA shows today, NBA Today, and he explained. He said, with Draymond Green, this is more, he said it was the incident, but also about the behavior in the past. Yeah. I mean, we might have a chance with your guy. He might be able to come up.
I'm just going to queue up a little something for the video version of this episode. You'll see some examples of that throughout the course of Draymond Green's career, which if you've been following NBA long enough.
Please tell him to get Into the Dragon with Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee jumps up in the air, comes down on this dude with his feet and goes, ah!
All right. Before we get into the exactly what happened, because you and I, we sort of differ on what happened, or at least what should have happened. But I think we're on the same page as to the discipline. But I'll elaborate in a second. But first thing, I gotta say this about E40 real quick. They didn't know who E40 was. There's no way they know who E40 was. No warning. No. If that's I'm not even gonna say Jay-Z. If that's the baby or someone like that, they would recognize that person better. You know what I mean? Like, that's not shade at E40. Look, he's an older rapper. He's kind of in that contemporary rappers genre, so to speak, right? But nonetheless, any spectator, anyone, regardless of where you're sitting, should at least get a warning. And according to security in Sacramento, it was excessive standing was the reason for E40 to get tossed. But no warning, Max. Come on, man. You got a warning. Do something
well,
like
I tell you, some of the words he was using, he was mouthing at that woman behind, because he sure called it the B word several times.
I was going to say, I think it rhymed with the word witch. Yeah, I thought so.
And so, I don't know what it is. Was it racial profiling? How do you racially profiling somebody at the Sacramento game? I think it had to be with, you are a fan of the opposition. You're yelling and screaming, and somebody took offense of it, and then you told somebody, you probably egged it on that much more. I don't know what happened, but whatever happened then was just kind of crazy. But E40 has to understand where he's at. Know your role. Know your role, man. Know where you're at. Know the situation. E40's been in the hood before. Obviously, he's been in the hood. You don't do certain things you just don't do when you go to on another guy's turf. You don't do that. So that's how I look at it.
I just think it's something, it's like you're waiting for that warning. You're like, I'm good. You don't expect it to go like that, like to 100 real quick. So I don't know. I get it. I understand.
When you've been speeding down the highway, you're going 80, 90 miles an hour, and the police come up on you, what do you expect about to happen?
They're going to run my place and check my history.
You going to get a warning, or you going to get a ticket? You're going to get a ticket, you're going to get a warning.
Hey, it depends. They're going to check your history.
More than likely, if you speeding down the highway at 90 miles an hour and they pull you over, your ass is getting a damn ticket. They ain't give you no warning. Warnings, it used to be the day of warnings. It used to be. Now warnings have gone away. No, people don't warn you anymore about certain situations. They happen. It's just like the same thing what happened by Draymond. So I need to move forward. Tell me your opinion about this Draymond thing, because obviously we must have been looking at another game or something if your opinion is different from mine.
All right. Man, you can't wait to get into this thing, man. Max and I, I'm glad we saved that conversation from before game 2, because we only got about 4 minutes into it. But I think, okay, so here's my thing. Why is everyone pretending like Domantis Sabonis is innocent? Like, he's the biggest victim in the world. He grabbed Draymond's leg, man. And obviously people who are on the side of that, on that side of the fence have been saying that for the last couple of days now.
I get that.
Granted, most NBA players, if you grab someone's foot, one, they're not going to like that. But two, they're not going to try to step on your rib cage.
Thank you.
Right? Okay, I'll give you that. But you know what Draymond's about, Max. You give him a reason. You give him just the smallest reason to act the fool, and he's going to take it 10 out of 10 times, especially in the playoffs, man.
I understand what you're saying, but you also have to see who was there at the game. The commissioner of the league was sitting there. I don't mean he did it in front of the principal, Max. I don't mean he was down the street. I don't mean he heard it. He was there. And then you get up and then you egg on the fans after that.
That was bad. Yeah,
there was no remorse.
No remorse.
Like,
he didn't even check to see dude was okay. He didn't even I don't mind if he didn't check to see if he was okay. That's not my point. My point is I know what you mean.
Once you stomp on a guy and now you go into this whole diatribe about standing up and tell the crowd to bring it on. Mm-hmm. Somebody said it best, said that was a cup of ice away from being a total incident. Could have happened right then and there. Once
the way he was talking to the crowd?
The way Draymond kept egging this thing on. Because we know there's some crazy people out here in this world. But in that circumstance, if you're Draymond Green, you have to think of your team also. What's the best thing I understand, but Joe Dumars explained it the best. He said it's about the history that Draymond has shown over the years. No more than that. The history of it.
Yeah.
He was it's documented. It's documented on film, not with just one person. Did we see it last year when he kicked Brown in the head? Did we see
when
it
they were
then?
both on the ground? Yeah, in the finals.
Yeah. Did we see it then? Did anything happen in the beginning of the season with him and Jordan Poole?
No, that's true.
I'm gonna be I'm just gonna have I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'm talking to you. Okay, did he not kick Steven Adams in the nuts? Not once, but twice. Did he not backhand LeBron? Did he backhand LeBron James in the nuts? Twice. Once, twice. So if you're about that life, then now you got to pay the consequences. I mean, if that happens any place else other than the basketball, other than in that arena, there's an all-out brawl going. You let that happen in the street when you were playing. What's going to happen? You stomp on the guy's chest.
He's going to want to talk to you afterwards.
Game's over. Game is over.
Yeah.
Ain't no more game because
ain't no afterwards.
That's when you're gonna hear that classic sound. Wait a minute, I'm going to my car and going to my trunk. Whoa! Josue. Well,
everyone on the court looks at each other and scatters. All the other people.
What's the next move? I think we need to get the hell out of Dodge right now. So in Draymond's case, I love his. I'm watching him a little bit more closely. I love his basketball intellect. I love his competitive spirit. I love that. But there's a fine line of being competitive and there's a fine line of being stupid. That was the stupid button that he pressed. I don't care how.
He presses that line.
And I love it looking at Thompson saying, well, I don't think, and about the guy who grabbed, they adjudicated that right then and there. They gave Sabonis a technical.
You got technical.
Don't compound that by doing something else. And then after you get yours to get thrown out, you go out in the middle of the floor and you start revving the crowd up. That doesn't hold weight. And if you're doing it that with the commissioner, you flaunting that in his face, what do you think is about to happen?
When you're drafting your fantasy team, do you ever wish you can handicap the best stars for your business team? If you're building your talent roster, you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Find top talent fast with Indeed's suite of powerful hiring tools like matching, assessments, and virtual interviews. Hate waiting? Indeed's U.S. data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. Something I love about Indeed is that it makes hiring all in one place so easy because of its ideal matching system. Candidates you invite to apply through Instant Match are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in search, according to U.S. Indeed data. With Indeed, matching as soon as you sponsor a post, you can get a short list of quality candidates whose resume on Indeed match your job description. Boom, it's hiring at warp speed. Indeed does the hard work for you. Sponsor a job and we'll match you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed fit your job description right when you post. With Indeed, you can start hiring fast. Join over 3 million businesses worldwide using Indeed to hire great talent fast. Indeed knows when you're growing your business, you have to make every dollar count. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/Maxwell to start hiring today. Just go to Indeed.com/Maxwell. That's Indeed.com/Maxwell. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna be like
he had to do something.
Had to. As Somebody said,
"Well, I agree with the punishment, Max. I just don't agree with the whole like, oh, how could you do that to Sabonis? That's whoa, wait a minute. One of them wasn't playing fair, and the other guy took it to another level.
Well, let me ask you, what would you do with Sabonis? Do you think Sabonis should be suspended for grabbing him by the leg?
No, I don't think so. He got a technical foul.
They did what they did with Sabonis. He got his. He got his right then and there. He got the foul. He got the technical. Now, what else do you want them to do, Sabonis? I don't know. Is everybody like, oh, you got to do this? You got to. What else do you want?
Yeah, I mean, look, if this thing happens in the second quarter, obviously implying the same thing happens and Draymond is tossed, maybe there's no suspension. But it happened in the fourth. There wasn't much game. There was about 7 minutes left to go, and the Warriors caught an L, and they might catch another one, even though they're going back home. This hasn't been a good home team all year long. That's what I told you last week, Max, and they caught 2 L's going back home. Let's see if they can rewrite the ship, but it's not going to be easy without Draymond.
And everybody keeps saying, oh my God, the Kings start scoring almost at will when Draymond went out. Draymond wasn't guarding those guys that was scoring.
Fox.
It was Fox who was scoring.
No, he ain't guarding Aaron Fox anymore.
He ain't out on the floor guarding those guys. He's not doing that. So I didn't even understand, like, oh my God, we lost this, we lost that. Well, yeah, you lost more of your offensive punch, but I just can't. I couldn't bite my tongue for our listeners. I had to, as me and Josue like to say, we're trying to keep it on the 100. This is keep it on the 100, because there's no way that you're going to flaunt that in front of the commissioner. Joe Dumars said it best. Again, I hate to be redundant, but Joe Dumars did say, we went back and we looked at his history and the things that went on with it. And then he said, and the theatrics after that of him getting on the floor, showing no remorse. So I'm good with it. Kendrick Perkins was on the air today and he said, well, I'm thinking. What did he say? Perkins said, well, maybe they should have suspended him for a game for next year, not in the playoffs.
Oh, come on.
Let me tell you about
that's the definition of a slap on the wrist. Like, come on.
Oh, yeah, that is. Let me tell you what my dad did. My dad and my mom always used to say, where you show out, that's where I'm going to work out. I heard Steve Harvey say that one time. Talking about his mom said that to him.
That sounds like some Steve Harvey bit right there, man.
You want to do it right here? You want to do it right here, right now? Okay, that's fine. And then you got to be prepared to take the consequences, Yeah. And that's what happened. And not only do you lose him for that game, but you lose him for the next game. And Golden State needs all the help they can get right now, the way that Sacramento team is playing against them.
Yeah, they do. It's not going to get any easier. Even though they're going back home, it just doesn't get easier when you don't have Draymond. And it's going to be.
Sacramento has been better. I think somebody was saying this. They had a better road record than they had a home record this year.
Yeah, they're really good.
That's how effective they are.
Kyle Draper, all friend Kyle Draper is the one that put me onto that towards the end of the season. He's like, man, these guys are road warriors, man. They're not afraid. So you get the right matchup in the first round. And
what we need? We're gonna go out. Let's do something good. Can we get Brother Draper on with us?
We should get Drapes on, man. We should.
That's a great Draper on with us and to discuss this. I mean, Brother Draper, Kyle Draper, who's out there, who's our guy. We'd love to have him on just to discuss that, how he'd feel. So we might. Kyle,
you said he's our guy. We're not Kyle's. We're not Kyle's. What was it? What was the line he had? Kyle's peoples or something like that. I ruined it. Everybody. No, Drape's guys. He had T-shirts. Remember? Drape's guys. Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Because when he refers to certain people, he'll be like, "Oh, that's my guy." So then everyone's like, "Oh, everyone's your guy." Scal's like, "Damn, Kyle, everyone's your guy."
Okay. Well, I mean, but we might have to get him on. I talked to a Hall of Famer today. And I'm gonna do like your guy. I'm gonna be a name dropper this time, okay?
Oh, you're not gonna say anonymous? Man.
I'm like Bobby Manning, your guy. I'm gonna drop a name.
That means this guy gave you that permission because you would never, Max.
Bob McAdoo, who's a Hall of Famer. And I talked to him today. I said, Bob, what do you think? He said, somebody should have kicked his ass.
He said that? Shocker. McAdoo said that, huh?
It wasn't me. It wasn't me that said it, okay? I'm just happy I wasn't there.
I'm stating the obvious here, but benches are clearing in the 80s. If, I don't know, someone stepped on you like that. If big game James took a step on Max like that.
Oh my God, dude!
How many people have to hold you back? How many people have to hold you back?
Oh my God, dude! That happens any place during the 80s. It's all out war, bro. It ain't even no, it's not even close to that. I happen to be in one of those brawls with Larry Bird when he got punched by Dr. J. And I grabbed Barkley around the neck. I was trying to choke him out. That joke was so strong, he just flung me. I went flying. But I've been in those things where stuff get crazy. But that would have been that. I can't even imagine what that would have been like if, in fact, I was any player that I know, he got stomped on the floor like that. And here's the biggest thing. That was in front of Sacramento's bench.
Yeah, it was. Yep.
He would have got bum rushed. He would have got bum rushed, man. Let's take it back to the Western time. He would have got his ass bummed rushed. Okay, I'll say it. I know you don't want to say it. I'll say it. That's what would have happened. Come on, man.
Oh, man. I love it. I knew this episode was going to be fun. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Head over to FanDuel.com/Boston. If you haven't already, you still got plenty of time to cash in, man. New customers in Massachusetts getting on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston. That's FanDuel.com/Boston.
I wonder if FanDuel would have. I wonder if FanDuel, if you could have made a bet with FanDuel that some stuff is about to jump off with Draymond. I got $200 on FanDuel that Draymond is about to start some shit. I wonder if they had gone down tonight, if they had that on their prompt or things you could have bought. So it was disgusting.
All right, so we'll see. We'll see how this series ends. Obviously, it's not going to be easy for the Golden State Warriors, but Sacramento Kings are balling right now, man. And I can't help but wonder, Max, this is my question. Could this potentially be the beginning of the end? Draymond with the Warriors. He's got 1 year left. It's a player option. But after that, if you're the Golden State Warriors, do you have to start exploring other options?
If you're Golden State, I think you always have to explore other options. I mean, it's like
I don't know, man. They seem dead set on keeping that core together somehow, but I don't know.
I mean, it just says at a point where you start saying Steph, and he's not going any place. Klay Thompson's not going any place. But then you look at the productivity of Draymond Green, and you're going, is it worth all the trouble that you're going through right now? So I think that they're probably going to look at stuff and see where they land. And I do want to see, you know what, if Draymond does leave there, I want to see what he'll be like with another team. Mm. When you're not surrounded, when you don't have Steph or Klay to pass the basketball to.
It's got to be a really ideal situation, though, Max. Otherwise, I see him retiring. I really do. I could see him just staying off to the sunset, going all in with the podcast game and stirring shit up throughout the regular season. Like, I'm sure he will. But I don't know. Again, if it's not a winning situation, if it's not with someone that he really connects with, I don't see him sticking around.
I tell you what, it's too much money right now for guys to walk away from the NBA, Josue. I just saw a clip, and it won't happen. I don't think it's going to happen this year, but they're saying that the winning team next year, each player gets $500,000.
Are you talking about that mini tournament?
No, I'm talking about to win the championship. They're going to get $500,000.
Wow.
So if you win, not only do you get the ring, but you get $500,000. Now,
you get a bonus,
I know this might be peanuts to them or whatever, but 500,000 is still 500,000. And it's a life-changing experience for a lot of people in this world. So I just can't see and Draymond's smart enough to know that, this is a hell of a ride he's on right now. And he talks about his teammates, he talks about his opportunities, but you can't spit in somebody's face and then tell me it's raining. You can't pee on me and tell me right now it's misty out there. You can't do that. So that's how I look at it.
All right. Lastly, Celtics beat the Hawks. They're up 2-0 in their best-of-7 series. 119-106 was the final score. Tatum led the way with 29 points. But the story was Derrick White, man. His 26 points, what he was doing in that second half, man, a little bit of everything. Getting in front of Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, man, just causing trouble, Max. The Hawks got it down to a 9. And they went on a run that was sparked by Derrick White, man.
Yeah, but Derrick White is just saying, Derrick White is just so good. He's been so good. And you remember wasn't it a year and a half ago when everybody jumped on Brad Stevens, jumped down, oh, you gave up a first-round pick for, this. Now you're going, you don't hear nobody saying a word about that.
That's straight Brad's. Let's just say it now. Come on.
And Brad was able to grab a player that most of us didn't know how good he was. Mm-hmm. And for Greg Popovich probably knew, and some other people, but Brad Stevens determined how good he'd be for this team. And that's a tremendous get for Brad when you start looking at picking up that guy, Brogdon, the players you brought in here lately on his watch. These guys play at a very, very high level.
And both of those guys, what did it cost Brad? A first-round pick. How many times did Danny Ainge have a chance to trade a first? You know what? Maybe in the long run, it was good that he wasn't so loose with it and putting first-round picks on the table all the time. But man, right now, Brad is 3 for 3 with Al Horford, Malcolm Brogdon, and Derrick White.
Brad said, "Give them up." I'm giving them up left and right now.
He said, "I want to win now." He's like, "This is what I wanted for my team. Damn it, I'm gonna do it my way."
And he is. He's setting the table. Yeah. This team, if they're young enough, if they can somehow manage to win it, they could be in the mix for a long time. When you have Tatum and Brown, and you have all the other ancillary pieces, and think of this way, how he went out and he solidified even more so when he said, "Al, we want you back for a couple more years." Al said, "Okay, They gave him $20 million. Al like, well, I ain't got to go no place to do that. So very, 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 very good when you think about all that stuff that goes along with it.
All right, we're off to Atlanta, Max. Is this a sweep? Let me hear you call it right now, man. We're off to Atlanta. It's going to be a fun weekend. But will the Celtics go out? I think that's the question. Okay. Will Atlanta beat the Celtics outside the arena, the State Farm Arena?
Here's the skinny with this. If the Celtics win Game 3, it's going to be a sweep. And I always say, because if you're the Atlanta Hawks, in your mind, you might play well for the first quarter, but you ain't coming back to Boston and take that ass whooping where you already in your bed. We ain't got to go nowhere.
No. I think if you get a double-digit lead in the first half, they're checking out. They're not motivated to get rid of that and then go all the way back to Boston. Like, it's one of those things.
Well, here's the thing, and just like you're saying now, Murray has really given a damn one way or the other. He has been really good for those guys, knocking down shots, and he got them back in that game, knocking down Trays. But Trae Young has been exceptionally bad. I think he scored. He scored 24 points, but he was in the plus minus. He was minus 26 points. How do you do that?
It was ugly.
But just turning the basketball over, things he didn't do. It's scary when you think about it.
I just love the way the Celtics are defending him when he goes into the paint. Like, he's so uncomfortable that he's getting swarmed. Whether he wants to make a layup or whether he wants to make a pass, it's not easy. Everyone's in his face. And I just feel like he's just uncomfortable. Like, that's what, like, yeah, he got 20-plus points, but he's got to take 20-plus shots to get there. And plus the turnovers, they're just, you never see him find that offensive rhythm. Yeah, only Murray. Only been Murray.
It was a lot of stuff that's going wrong for him. They did a much better job rebounding the basketball on second chance opportunities. But now where do you go if you do? It's going to be, as you said, it's going to be really, really interesting.
Absolutely. And we'll be here to recap it, of course, here on the Cedric Maxwell podcast when we get back from Boston. But in the meantime, everyone enjoy your weekend. Springtime, enjoy the playoffs. All these games have been freaking wild, Max. If we go keep it on the 100. This has been an entertaining first round in the NBA.
Yeah. All right, brother.
Later, guys. See you guys next week.